You're watching Seattle Seahawks Today, powered by Chad Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Coming up on today's show, we got some roster movement to get to, as we will tell you what John Schneider and Mike McDonald have been cooking up in the first official week of the offseason for your Seattle Seahawks. We will examine all of that and more coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we go any further in today's show, though, folks, want to make sure you're subscribed to Seahawks Today. We're closing in on 62,500 subscribers on the channel, just a little over 300 away from reaching that next milestone. For daily Seahawks news and rumors, live shows multiple days a week. We're still doing watch parties on the channel. We're going to be live on Monday night for the Rams and Vikings game. We will all root against the Rams together. FLA, FLA. We got you covered throughout the entire offseason. We're talking draft, free agency, trades, and more, all right here on Seahawks Today. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/SeahawksTV, and we'll get started with today's show. Let's go over the latest roster updates. We've had so much go on this week. I haven't got a chance to talk about the 11 players that were signed to reserve and future contracts, securing their 2025 rights. A lot of these names are players you will recognize that some saw some time on the active roster, others on the practice squad. Let's get to it and show you who those individuals are. Quinton Bohanna has been signed to a futures deal. We saw a little bit of him in 2024 on the defensive line for Seattle. Ryan Cooper, a.k.a. Bump Cooper Jr., he has also been added to the futures list, as has Michael Dowell at the linebacker position. And I'll tell you this, our producer today is one of our new hires, Brett Alper. You may have seen him at Chat Sports on one of our other shows. And he, just like me, is a big NASCAR guy. And I see the name Michael Dowell, and my mind immediately thinks of the NASCAR driver Michael McDowell, McDriver himself. But it is not the former driver of the 00 Aaron's Dream Machine who wrecked at Texas Motor Speedway in qualifying. Not that guy. No, this is the former Bengals linebacker, Michael Dowell. We also have Tyler Hall at the corner position. And then one of my personal favorites, Mike Novitsky at the center position, the former center from my school, the University of Kansas, Rock Chalk, also on this list. A few more names for you, including Kenny O at the defensive end spot, safety Ty Okada as well, and Cornell Powell, the former Chiefs wide receiver, also making the list. And then three more names. This is going to be everybody's personal favorite. The Sheriff, Jamie Sheriff, the standout from the Seahawks preseason and training camp this past year. He's sticking around, as is edge rusher Tyreke Smith. And then corner Damarion Williams, formerly of the Baltimore Ravens, also making the list, rounding out the 11 players signed to future deals. So who do I like from this bunch? There's about four names in particular. Sheriff, obviously. Novitsky, I think he's got some real talent at that center spot. Williams, solid player. Okada was a guy that we saw get some run at the safety position this year. I think they're all potential names to watch to see if they can get some opportunities to prove themselves. And who knows, maybe end up on the active roster potentially in 2025. How would you grade the Seahawks roster moves? Weigh in, let us know. A, B, C, D, or F. I'll give you my grade coming up later, but want to hear from you guys first. Weigh in the comments section and let us know. Today's show is sponsored by our friends at Fume. What is Fume? Well, that's where I come in. Have you heard that flavored air category is quickly becoming the leading alternative to vaping and smoking? It's a whole new movement towards better habits, led by the sponsor of today's video, Fume. Fume is an award-winning flavored air device that draws flavor to your mouth, not your lungs. It's a great way to satisfy your oral fixation with non-toxic flavors, free from nicotine or vapor, and it's safe to use anywhere. Fume's design is also more than just flavor. It's an awesome fidget tool with magnets and clicks that help calm anxiety. You'll love how Fume feels. Premium quality, sleek design, and perfect for taking with you on the go. If you're used to vapor, Fume may not be as strong as you'd expect at first, but we also won't leave you in a hospital bed. Fume can be compared to an herbal tea if vapor was compared to a sticky soda. Not as sweet and a lot more natural. Fume has already helped over 300,000 people build better habits. Try Fume today. And if you order the Journey Pack now using my code ChatSports, you'll get a free Fume topper, an awesome accessory to level up your experience. Go to tryfume.com/chatsports or scan the QR code on your screen. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Fume, proud partner of Seahawks Today. My grade is a B- here, as you found a few dudes, but not a ton in the grand scheme of things. But you do find a few dudes with some potential here that is untapped at this point. Let's kind of walk through some of my favorites one by one. And where I want to start is with the one and only Jamie Sheriff. That's where I want to get this going here off the top. Undrafted in 2024 out of South Alabama, signed with the Seahawks. He was let go, and then he was brought back. This is his second stint with Seattle. Preseason standout, and he made a pretty interesting case for the active roster. He was one of those guys that was just left out when they announced the 53-man roster at the start of the season. But he was a nice find for Seattle. And I got to tell you, I love his drive, his motor that he brings to the table. I mean, he's just got that dog in him that you simply can't teach. Jamie Sheriff, certainly a name to watch there. Now, let's go to my personal favorite, and that would be Mike Novitsky from the University of Kansas, undrafted in 2014, signed with the Seahawks. This is his second stint with Seattle. And prior to the 2024 draft, going into his final season at KU, he was viewed as a guy that could be drafted, that was thought of as being an NFL player. And then he kind of took a bit of a step back his senior year at Kansas, but still a really good player that I think has some untapped potential. He knows that center position, and I think Seattle enters this offseason at the center spot with some great uncertainty, as Olu was never really consistent. Obviously, the Connor Williams thing didn't work out with all that as well. Mike Novitsky, I think, has got a chance potentially if he's given a true opportunity to really prove himself. I would be fascinated to see what he could potentially do. Damarion Williams, we know the guy's talented. Former fourth-round pick with the Houston Cougars by the Baltimore Ravens. Joined Seattle this year. He's played a decent number of games, 15 career games to be exact, in his NFL career at this point in time. And when you look at Damarion Williams, this guy is a heck of an athlete as well. He's very athletic, has a ton of athleticism that he brings to the table. And you can never have too many athletes as far as I'm concerned, whether it's his ability to potentially throw him at the corner spot or maybe use him on special teams, whatever it may be. Watch out for him there. One more name for you, Ty Okada, the former undrafted free agent out of Montana State, a two-time second-team All-Big Sky Conference selection in 2021 and in 2022. 9 career games played, and we saw this safety position get really banged up this year with injuries to Rayshon Jenkins. Kobe Bryant was out for a while. Obviously, Jarek Reed was out. And Ty Okada got the call up to the active roster at one point this season. And the thing that we heard from Seattle coaches was how well he was in practice, that he was a good listener, a very good practice player. And you guys know the old adage, how you practice is how you play. So if he continues to be a good practice player, then he could potentially be rewarded with a chance on the active roster, potentially speaking. Who is your favorite of the futures signings from Seattle? Give me one name that comes to mind of the 11 individuals. Weigh in and let us know. For continuing Seahawks coverage, subscribe now to Seattle Seahawks Today. I'm Tyler Jones. Appreciate you joining us. Before we go, we want to give a thank you to Fume for sponsoring today's show. Scan the QR code. It's right there. And use code ChatSports to get your free Fume topper when you order your Journey Pack today.